going on, collectors? It's Parlay Jay here with you today. And on today's episode, we're gonna talk about something that you may have heard about, which is all the rave over the last couple of years in the sports card collecting world. And it's this thing called a RAZZ. Have you heard of a RAZZ? I remember the first time I heard that word, I said, what in the heck does that mean? Well, I'm here to tell you what a RAZZ is, and you can kind of figure out whether it's worth it for you or not. Now, some of the allure that's been around the card collecting industry over recent years is not so much the exact same allure that existed back in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, where you probably had more fans of the game who loved the players and wanted to have their memorabilia on hand. Now granted, you had the kids my dad's age when he was a kid who put the Mickey Mantle rookie cards in their spokes of their bicycles to make it sound like a motorcycle, and that's cool too, unless you're one of those guys that put a Mickey Mantle rookie in there and ruined it and don't have it today. That aside, there is a very different allure to the industry in the sports card collecting game right now, and it's because of the aspect of gambling. Now, gambling has always been an aspect when you think about, buying packs, because you don't know what you're gonna get. And that was the allure of packs, that it was fun to open it, the surprise of hitting that great card, buying more. Now, it depends on what type of collector, investor you are. If packs are your thing, or if buying boxes or cases are your thing because you like collecting, going through all the cards, that's one way. If you like buying individual cards, that's another way. But here's where the gambling aspect comes in. So now there's not only that allure of opening a pack and being surprised, there's actually the added dimension of wanting to do that with other people and spreading out your odds so that there's a chance that you could put a lesser amount of money toward cards and come back with a greater return, right? It's the same thing you do when you go to a casino. Your intent is that you put down a $10 bet and you double your money. In the same way, sports cards and the RAZZ was born. So we get to the big question of what is a RAZZ? A RAZZ is essentially a raffle or a lottery of sports cards. Now the way it works is there'll be a predetermined number of spots. So let's say it's 10 spots. And each person will put in a set amount of money in order to buy a spot. So let's say it's 10 spots for $10 a spot. That means there's $100 in the pot. And each person will pick a number, 1 through 10. Once all those spots are purchased and occupied, then at random, a randomizer tool, usually a public website called random.org, will be used to do two things. One, roll a pair of virtual dice to determine the number of times that the spots will be randomized. And then two, to actually randomize those 10 spots in a completely random order itself. And the object of the game is to land in the number 1 spot. People can play with those rules and pick the 5 spot or the 7 spot, but most commonly it's whoever lands in the number 1 spot after the random drawing wins everything in the pot. So it's usually the cards that are available or at stake in the pot. And it could consist of anything from one particular card to a pack, to a box of cards, to a case of cards maybe even, or to a graded card. But the whole idea is that as a collector, let's say it's for one card and it's a card that's worth $100. I'm putting in $10 to get a 10% chance to get that card for $10. And then when the order is randomized, I now have a 10% chance of getting a gigantic savings on that card. Now, we're playing the odds here. It's basically like a casino and it's kind of like gambling. But there is an allure to that somebody could go in and get a $100 card for $10. You could see why, right? And because of that, it has become immensely popular across the internet. Now it's questionable because it is a form of gambling, and some say that there will become a time where it becomes more publicly regulated. We obviously are not at that time yet. You can find these RAZZs online, on Instagram, on Facebook, on certain break, as they call them, websites or RAZZ websites, and they're very readily available. I mean, you could land a Ronald Acuna PSA 10 rookie card maybe for $20 or something like that. You never know. And then you walk away feeling awesome. But as with any gambling, you could do it a lot, lose a lot, and lose more than you gain. So you gotta be careful, you gotta have some self-control. Also, the thing you wanna remember about RAZZs is that it's not something that's regulated. Anybody can go out and go live on Facebook and Instagram and do it. So you need to be careful that you don't get scammed. And it's really hard because there's no real security in this. So I'm definitely not recommending that you go out and take part in a RAZZ. But if you want to watch and observe, that's cool too. But you definitely have to be careful. Know that it's somebody that you're razzing with that you at least feel you can trust or has some sort of a reputation, because at the end of the day, you put money forward with the expectation that if you win, that person is going to honestly follow up and send you the cards that you won. There is a chance that they won't do it. Unfortunately, there's dishonest people out there. So be very careful before, if you do decide to take part in something like this, do your homework, try to figure out who the razzer is, if they have past experience, or if they are a person that seems generally reliable. So you need to be very careful there as well, and that's why I am not recommending that you try this. But nonetheless, I want you to be informed so that you know exactly what it's all about. But nonetheless, I made this video because I remember when I first heard what the heck RAZZ was, I said, I need to go and look this term up and figure it out. And I made this video for you if you had never heard of that term or you were interested in what it is, because now you're hearing people talk about it a lot. So Google it, do your due diligence, check it out, but just be careful with it, okay? Because as with gambling, you don't want this to become addictive or anything like that. Thanks again, guys, for joining. Love it when you're here. Please like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about RAZZs. Have you ever actually taken part in a RAZZ before? As always, Parlay J, take care, spike your hair. See you next time. Whoop.